All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we have what I think was shots fired from Adrian Bronner's trainer Kevin Cunningham, who released a cryptic tweet, which I think was directed at this fight that we have coming up between Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford, where he talks about basics versus a slick fighter. And how a slick fighter can overcome the basics of a fighter that is very, very good at the basics. Now, before I get into that, let me welcome you back to the channel. But let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. Let's get into this 147-pound division mega fight. And I don't care. I'm going to keep talking about it. I enjoy it. It's what's going on in boxing. And it's one of the best things to take place in boxing for the last decade, for sure. Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford fighting one another in an intriguing matchup between two of the best fighters in the world. Many people have Terence Crawford listed as their #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, despite what some people who come onto my channel in the live streams that want to debate me, which you are always welcome to do. They're at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific Time, 7 days a week. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, show up, click the link. We can have the conversation. But he is not by everybody, but by many. You have Errol Spence Jr. also, who's in the top 10 of almost everybody's top 10 pound-for-pound list in the sport of boxing. They hold all the belts at 147 pounds. And you have two, which is the subject matter of this video, you have two different styles of fighters getting into the ring, and it is, in this case, it is a case of what do you like better leading into it. Now, Kevin Cunningham, who is a trainer of Adrian Bronner, and one of the better trainers in the sport of boxing, has been around a long time, former policeman from St. Louis. I do believe that he may have trained Corey Spinks, but at the very least, I know for sure that he trained Devin Alexander, and now is training Adrian Bronner. He did have Gervonta Davis, I do believe, for one fight. He trained, I do believe he trained him for one fight, but a guy that, you know, pretty much everybody in the boxing world should know, really knows his stuff. He put out a tweet that said, yes, basically, he says this, that basics are very important in the sport of boxing. And however, a fighter with a talented, hardworking fighter with a slick skill set can throw off a basic fighter, right? Now, what does that mean? As far as it goes with Errol Spence Jr. Clearly, people think that Errol Spence Jr. is a very basic fighter because he doesn't do a lot of flashy things. He fights behind a jab, he cuts off the ring, he goes to the body, he does all the things, all the textbook things that they tell you to do in boxing. He catches shots, he will slip shots, but he will also block shots, he'll block shots, he'll parry shots, you know, he'll deflect shots, and he's really trying not to waste a lot of movement, pretty much straight punches, conserving energy, all of those type of things which you associate with basics of any sport. Basketball, right? They say, you know, the best dribblers keep the ball in the box, right? You're not dribbling out here and dribbling out here, right? Because if you're dribbling out here and dribbling out here, it takes longer for the ball to get up and down. There's more room for somebody to steal the ball, all those type of things, right? Fundamentals. However, if you have somebody that is exceptionally athletic, somebody that's exceptionally hardworking, they can use a more slick style and really throw off the guy that's fundamental. Good example of that in basketball is Allen Iverson with the big crossovers. I think also Manu Ginobili when he came into the league and introduced the Euro step, which Dwayne Wade was doing also. But those type of kind of slick, tricky type of things. Now, obviously, that's what he's saying, or what I have to believe he implies, not obvious, I have to believe he implies, about Terrence Crawford, right? The Terrence Crawford he's switching stances from left to right, from southpaw to orthodox. He's pulling straight back from punches, right? But in keeping his hands low and pulling back from punches, he can see what's going on. So there's benefits to that, right? Where you think somebody won't move their head there, but he's following you up and he's hitting you with big shots, looping shots, but he knows exactly where they're going because he knows exactly where you're going to recover and where you're going to, when you slip shots. All of those type of things. I think that's what is safe to say that he's referring to, and that is being consistent in the conversation that we've been having about this fight, and I think it's a very reasonable thing to say. Something that I have always observed, and I've made mention of, and will continue to make mention of, when in that scenario between the basic, fundamentally sound fighter and the fighter that has the more slick style. And no, I don't think any of these fighters fit, strictly in either one of those boxes. However, one of the most classic examples that I see of that is where you have a very slick American fighter and you have a pressure fighter, a pressure Mexican fighter. And one thing that I've always noticed, and I said about this, is that if you are an A+ level American kind of slick fighter, somebody that'll slip shots, right, pull counters, all the tricks of the trade, all of the fancy, flashy things, that if that A+ guy is fighting an A-level fundamental fighter, that guy will win a lot of the times. However, if this guy is an A and this guy is an A, the fundamental fighter, the come forward fighter, a lot of times he's going to win. And if this guy is off his game, an A+ guy in that style, the come forward, behind the jab, goes to the body, keeping the pressure on you. If this guy's an A+ at that, and this guy's an A, this guy is going to demolish him. And it's going to be something that is going to be very, very, very nasty, which I think you see in fights like Marco Antonio Barrera and Prince Nassim Hamed. I think you also see that in fighters like Adrian Broner and Marcos Maidana, where Marcos Maidana is also wild and throwing punches from all kind of different angles. I understand that. But that pressure style, that in-your-face style, cause a lot of problems if you are really, really not the top level at that particular. If you're not Sugar Ray Leonard and on your game, Roberto Duran is going to cause you a lot of problems. But if you're on your game and you can really moving it and doing it, Roberto Duran is going to have a hard time with you. I think that that's what they're saying. Now, in this situation that we have here with Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford, we'll find out what we have. Do we have an A+ level, really slick fighter that's going to be on his feet, moving, slipping shots and all that stuff at the age of 35 years old? Or do we really have a guy that is primarily a southpaw fighter and does have excellent timing and excellent speed, but you got another guy over here who's big, who's long, who's very fundamentally sound, who's a little bit younger, who really keeps the pressure on you and is an A+ pressure fighter. So I think the question is, for me, I believe Errol Spence is that A+ pressure fighter, fundamental fighter. I don't know if Terrence Crawford is an A+ slick fighter. And if you have A+ and A+, if he is A+ and A+, then what's going to happen in that scenario? I think in that scenario, I very well still may go with the guy that's more fundamentally sound, because the guy that is really fundamentally sound and putting the pressure on you isn't making a lot of mistakes that allow the slicker fighter to take advantage of it. And I don't know. And when you have somebody that's really A+, they're going to cut that ring off regardless, right? So that seems to me to be more similar to the fight where you had Jose Luis Castillo and Floyd Mayweather Jr. won, right? Now, Floyd said he had hurt his hand or whatever, but you kind of get my drift. Terrence is not Errol, and Terrence is not Floyd, and Errol is not Jose Luis Castillo. I think that they both kind of, Errol's a notch up from Castillo, and Terrence Crawford is a notch down from Floyd. And the styles are obviously not the same exactly, but it's going to be really interesting to see. I thought that's a really good observation. I think that's a conversation and an observation that is worth looking for in almost every fight. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.